So our top story this morning, the collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge 1 year later. This, of course, was the shocking scene that unfolded in the early morning hours of March 26, 2024. That cargo ship, the Dali, slamming into the bridge, causing it to collapse.
Tragically, 6 workers on the bridge were killed. Plus, the Port of Baltimore was blocked for months by that debris. Since the collapse, investigations have been done, sweeping lawsuits have been settled, and the work to rebuild is underway.
Yeah, just days ago, the National Transportation Safety Board came out and criticized the Maryland Transportation Authority for failing to conduct risk evaluations. Well, 7 News is on your side with team coverage on this somber anniversary. Olivia Dance with our sister station in Baltimore is taking a look back at the tragedy, and Joy Wang is looking at what comes next.
But we start with 7 News reporter John Gonzalez, who's live in Baltimore for us. And John, the families of the victims, they're speaking out this morning.
They are, through their attorneys, and you know it's going to take about $2 billion and about 4 years, Adriana, for a new bridge to rise here in Baltimore. It was 1:30 a.m. March 26, 2024, exactly a year ago when this bridge collapsed. And take a look. Here's what it looks like this morning. A bridge that stood 185 feet high and stood for nearly 50 years, and it's now gone. The family of the 6 men killed, along with the 2 survivors of the incident, have released a statement through their attorneys blaming the container ship company for the tragedy. They write, quote, "While nothing can bring the men who died that night back to their families, we will do everything in our power to hold the Dali's owners and operators accountable for their role in this disaster," unquote. We have the full statement on our webpage this morning, WJLA.com. Now, I spoke with Captain Christopher Reynolds. He is in charge of the water and dive team for the Middle River Volunteer Fire and Rescue Company here in Baltimore County. He got the call that morning, 18 minutes after the disaster.
I remember when we first got on scene and looking at that bridge, or really what was left of it, for the very first time in my life, that bridge seemed and looked insignificant. We noticed something. We noticed that the lights on the bridge are still on. There is an electrical transmission line that ran along the bridge, and all of those lights are on. When you're dealing with that kind of catastrophe, what damage was done to the electrical line? So as divers, it caused us to take a step back and go, wait a minute.
Just one of the many challenges they were dealing with that dark morning. Now, the loss of life is, of course, the most tragic outcome of this, but the economic impact of the bridge collapse has also been vast. A bustling port that generates more than $600 million in state and local tax revenue a year. Now, it was halted for several months while the cleanup continued here in Baltimore. Coming up later this hour, what the city is doing to help the businesses in the area and the workers here at the port. And you will hear some more of that interview with Captain Reynolds, what they were dealing with that morning. They were here for a long time. Reporting live, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
John, thank you. Well, that tragedy not only shook Baltimore, but sent ripples far beyond the city. In the months since, we have seen massive recovery and rebuilding efforts.
Yeah, Olivia Dance with our sister station in Baltimore joins us now with a closer look ahead of a commemoration ceremony that's coming up later today. Olivia, good morning.
It's been 1 year since the Key Bridge collapsed, certainly a day that we will never forget. And at 9 this morning here in Dundalk, near the site of the Key Bridge collapse, the bridge, what's left of the bridge just behind us in the distance there, it's dark, so you can really only see the shadow. Obviously, this highway here is still closed as well. But at 9 this morning, the governor and several elected leaders will hold a commemoration ceremony to remember the lives lost and honor the first responders. 1 year ago today, early in the morning, the Dali cargo ship lost power and crashed into the Key Bridge, causing the bridge to collapse and killing 6 construction workers. It's a moment that officials now say could have been prevented.
Had the MDTA conducted a vulnerability assessment of the Key Bridge based on recent vessel traffic, the MDTA would have been able to proactively identify strategies to reduce the risk of a collapse and loss of lives. MDTA could have done this evaluation numerous times over the past several decades. Had they ran the calculation on the Francis Scott Key Bridge, the MDTA would have been aware that the bridge was almost 30 times greater than the risk threshold.
Jennifer Hamady, the chair of the National Transportation Safety Board, says long-standing guidelines say vulnerability assessments should be conducted on bridges, calculating their risk and how likely they are to collapse if a ship passing through were to hit it, just like what we saw here last March. The governor, though, has shifted the blame away from the state, and the MDTA said in a statement the catastrophe and the tragic loss of life was the sole fault of the Dali. Now experts at Johns Hopkins University have found that several other bridges are at significant risk for a major collision, including the Bay Bridge.
I do think that the risk is very real and that the risk needs to be taken seriously, and that protective measures likely need to be put in place.
So, of course, we'll have to see if that's addressed at this morning's ceremony. And again, it starts at 9. But for now, reporting in Dundalk, I'm Olivia Dance, 7 News.
Just last month, Governor Wes Moore and the Maryland Department of Transportation unveiled the new design concept for the Francis Scott Key Bridge rebuild. Here's what it looks like, and it's actually standing 45 feet taller than the original bridge. Now, pre-construction started this year with the federal government committed to paying the full cost of replacing the bridge. That cost is estimated to be $1.7 to $1.9 billion. October 15th, 2028 is the goal for reopening the new bridge, with the Maryland Transportation Authority planning to offer incentives for it to be completed even earlier.
Well, a lot has happened in the years since the collapse, from the clearing of the wreckage to the start of planning for the new bridge. We've been covering it all for you. All of our reporting from the past year is up on our homepage right now.